In the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. Flying high, I emerge through the flames. Have no fear, I'm here, so stand back. Melanin activate, the name is super black. In the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. Flying high, I emerge through the flames. Have no fear, I'm here, so stand back. Melanin activate, the name is super black. Imagine that, a future that's super black. Long as your skin brown, your superpowers intact. What would your powers be? Just hope it ain't super whack. Spatial manipulation, create a portal that's black. Maybe just super speed, time travel to run it back. Or cheat manipulation to keep my spirit intact. As I encounter evils the world face, demons the world makes, I needed the world at stake. Rest in peace to Chadwick, they killed all the Black Panthers. Told us white lies, I still marvel at black answers. Suits in DC, pray it lead to a civil war. It ain't no Justice League, what's the need to be civil for? Propelled like the juggernaut, it's clear ain't no stopping this. The world in grave danger, who can stop the apocalypse? They killed all the heroes, the new ones don't really care. But if you need me, put your fist up in the air. Yeah, in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. Flying high, I emerge through the flames. Have no fear, I'm here, so stand back. Melanin activate, the name is super black. In the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. Flying high, I emerge through the flames. Have no fear, I'm here, so stand back. Melanin activate, the name is super black.
Whoo! Look at that, everybody. We are back. Episode 2 to season 11. Thank you for tuning in to Blurred's Eye View. I'm your host, the man on the wall, Chris Fury. If you do not know by now, you might want to catch up. I'm looking at the ladies behind in the backstage, and it's just Kira's doing the dance. It's time. We're gonna start this off because it's starting off with the trio tonight, and we'll start off with Lady Mandalore. What's going on?
Oh, well, hello. Good evening, everyone out there in wonderful streaming land.
Streaming land.
Streaming land.
I am fighting. If my voice sounds weird, I am fighting allergies.
Yeah. What is that? What is that? I went to my friend's house yesterday. I've been fine since DreamCon. Like, I am COVID free. I've flown on a plane. I've been in a very high occupancy area. 3 days later, throat is sore.
Yeah.
Why?
And I'm like, here in Cleveland, the weather has been kind. Since BlurCon, it's been kind. It's been like 83 degrees during the day, and at one point 53 at night. And I'm in front of a fan, and I'm like, did I just catch a summer cold? And I'm like, no, my throat doesn't itch when I have a summer cold. It's allergies. It's my allergies. I like eyes itchy. I'm like, I was like, I'm at work. I'm like, I'm not getting allergy medicine here at work. I'm gonna be sleeping somewhere.
Yeah, not recommended.
Yeah.
No.
We have our griot of horror. What's going on, lady?
Mute.
She's muted.
Oh, it's not me anymore. It's not me.
Yeah.
It's funny.
It's not me.
Listen, I get the legend to be old. So
yes, get the neti pot. I gotta invest in that.
Yeah. It's horrible, but it works great.
It gets the job done for what I've seen. I'm like, Jesus.
I'm actually gonna dye my hair later this year. So
yeah. So how's it been? We've had.
I can't complain. I went back to work full time, so at this point, that's why
I know what it is. We're not at a con. That's what it is. It's con depression. It's con depression.
That part.
Yeah,
that part.
It is. I'm counting the days to November.
Yes.
Allegedly.
Yes.
Allegedly.
So I'm gonna talk to Jason to see what I gotta do to fill that all out because he was like, "You guys want?" I'm like, "Talk to Tim."
Why are you asking?
Yeah.
Make a plate.
We'll make you make a plate, we'll make a way, and that's all that matters. We got our very own Black Spartan in the building, along with Obi. Obi's in the building.
Obi is definitely in the building and talkative.
Oh, we want to hear him.
Oh, he had him on IG talking earlier. He was like,
he cussed me out. He cussed me about he cussed me out about talking during the show. That's why I was like, "Do you like this show?" Ah! Okay.
Oh my God.
Everything I want to know.
Yeah, it's not been a bad day. It's not been a bad day. Quiet, allergy aside, I'm just like, okay, let's do this thing. We've got a couple little pieces of news that dropped off, you know. So it certainly has been a while since I've played that intro.
Only about a month.
Yeah, it's about a month. Yeah.
All right.
So I don't know if you guys remember, but when James Gunn was taking over, when it was announced that he was taking over, everybody was in a tizzy. They didn't know what was going to happen. They didn't understand what was happening. And that right there.
That's right. That's right. Yep. A mess.
And people wondered about certain star statuses in the DCU going forward, such as Jason Momoa, Gal Gadot. So we still don't know the status of Jason Momoa, but whatever it is, he's obviously still involved. We do have that much. But Gal Gadot revealed, and this was before the strike, because she was doing press for her film Heart of Stone coming on Netflix. So this was before the strike, and she revealed that her and James Gunn are working on a Wonder Woman film. It's not exactly Wonder Woman 3. It's more of a soft reboot. Think the Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad was a soft reboot. You know, we knew who Harley was. We knew who Rick Flag was. We knew those people. We knew who Amanda Waller was. Everything else was new. So it looks like they're keeping certain aspects that work in the universe that he's building. And I never really had a problem with Gal Gadot. I just had a problem with Wonder Woman 84. I had a problem with Wonder Woman 84. It dragged. After the chase scene, after the big fight scene, it dragged after that. It really dragged.
That and how they did the Keystone and certain possession that just was cringy.
That part.
Right. Shout out to Taco Noir out there. Hey, by the way, go and subscribe to Taco Noir. They have a giveaway that you want to go check out, and they will pick a winner. It is a arcade container, like an arcade box
cabinet.
Yeah, cabinet. It's a cabinet. It's really cool, actually. You want to check that out. It's an old school arcade cabinet that was created as a giveaway. So you want to go check them out at Taco Noir. Also, use the Blurred's Eye View as your discount or as your code to get your stuff free shipping by using Blurred's Eye View at the checkout. Shout out to Taco Noir.
And they're looking for their cosplay calendar attendees for 2024.
He said he's got a few more items that they're announcing later.
Hey, JoJo! Hey! Hi, Miss Ma'am.
She wanted to say hi for y'all for like at least since Tuesday.
Hi, baby.
And she had and here our griot was like, "Oh, not just yet, child. It is not your time.
Give them but a mere taste."
So it's I don't have a problem with Gal Gadot. Like I said, it was just the way 84 was built. It was kind of like, was this the one that really just said, okay, this might be the end of the DCEU as we know it? Like, it was because they gave it to us free. They dropped it on Max Christmas Day. And we watched it. Now, granted, I fell asleep on the middle of it, but then again, it was Christmas Day. I was up all night. So, when I watched it again, and I'm like,
Yeah, no, not to do all that and go, no. Yeah. That means it's bad, baby. It was
just there were certain elements in it that I was fine with. Like I said, like the desert scene, I was fine with. Her flying, I was fine with. I was wondering when they were going to get around to it. The whole thing with the invisible jet, I think they just threw that in for shits and giggles.
That's fan service.
It was weird, yeah.
You know, it was a weird kind of
very tacked on.
Yeah. So, you know, our very own Pedro Pascal was just was this like the start? Like, yeah.
Very much so.
Wasted.
Because I've never once heard anyone say, "Oh, his role was kind of wasted," and so was Kristen Wiig's role.
He did what he could. He did what he could.
Which he did what he could. Could have.
She definitely didn't even be in it.
It's just the whole Kristen Wiig. I was like, I love her as an actress, but how they
kind of wasted her.
They really did.
They didn't need to have two villains.
There you go.
No. They didn't need to have two villains. I don't understand why you would split the difference. Just have one major villain and call it a day.
You could have just
all your eggs in one basket.
Trope nowadays.
Yeah.
Half your superhero has is two villains.
The messed up part was he really a villain or just a misguided person?
He was misguided.
He was like a salesman that he was a salesman that with a monkey paw.
The man had a tragic childhood.
Yeah.
Perfect example. I seen a quote the other day, and they said the hero and villain are the same person. What makes them different is because the hero has the tragic childhood, and they react by, I want to make sure this doesn't happen to someone else. The villain says, I'm mad at the world for letting this happen to me. And that's the difference. And that was Maxwell. That was Pedro Pascal's role as Maxwell Lord.
True.
He was mad at the world for how he was treated in his childhood, and he reacted accordingly. So misguided, I'd say yes.
Yeah.
Villain.
Because if I'm thinking heroes and villains, I go back to Spider-Man when the little monologue that Green Goblin Spider-Man had, it still resonates with me. He says, no matter what, we chose the path we chose. You chose the path of the hero. And you think these people will love you. But one day they will turn on you, and then you will see that I was right.
Mm-hmm.
And that line always sticks to me whenever it comes to heroes and villains, right up there with One Bad Day with in The Killing Joke. So, I mean, you got to play Maxwell.
Still a great story to this day.
The whole point of that was still terrible. It's like, what's the difference between me and you? One bad day. Just one bad day separate.
Read the one they did about Ra's al Ghul.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one, too. That's a good one, too. So, I think it's just how they address it and how they play it out. And I know.
That too.
So, remember when I said that Ben Affleck's role as Batman was it was wasted after Batman versus Superman. It was wasted after that. He had a great showing in that film. It was probably the shining moment was him in his portrayal. Him showing what was going on during Man of Steel, and which I don't think they addressed that enough. They tried it with the Flash, which was okay. And I'm like, okay, you have a centerpiece because obviously this was affecting the world. So where were these people at this particular time? I like Bruce Wayne's vision. Actually, like Flash's version too. Like it wasn't bad. I'm like, oh, so he tried this before and he failed. Because first time out, what happens as a hero? First time out, you kind of screw up. You kind of screw up. Getting, it happened with Christian Bale and everything else. First time using that grappling hook. Robert Pattinson, first time he used that flight suit.
Ooh, that was a woo. That was. Did you sign out your life insurance thoroughly? Because, sir,
yeah. Because Lord, I'm like, he hit the parachute, went under the bridge, hit the bus. Rolled on top of the bus, hit the ground. I'm like, dude, just kind of just lay there for a minute.
That's just okay. Armor definitely needs to be improved.
Oh yeah. I mean, same with Iron Man.
Yeah.
If you pay attention to Iron Man, every appearance that he's made in the MCU, he improved on something that he learned from the last film or last showing.
Yeah.
From Avengers and getting hit by lightning by Thor. By the time Endgame comes around, he's like, hit me. He built the suit. He built the suit to take that
I want
on.
to see if I need something else to improve on.
Yeah.
I want all the smoke.
I don't know if you could build a suit that takes a planet. He threw a planet.
Well, he did. He threw a planet at that dude. He was just like, yeah, this might not work. But yeah, they scrapped the Batman movie that would have told at least over 80 years, a story 80 years in the making. There's a lot of history in Batman.
That sounds like a Snyder
in
idea.
one movie.
Yeah. Maybe not in one movie, but definitely.
It sounded like they wanted it to be one movie.
Mm-hmm.
I believe
they didn't. Well, in the defense of the article, it didn't say if they were going to try to, but it kind of gave the overall plan of what it was going to be. It kind of gave like, we're not trying to do it in this movie because we should have learned from our mistakes, but
building off
again, it's like you stick with, and again, this is coming from a Batman fan. Give different stories that don't involve Batman, which there are plenty.
Yeah. They said Ben's story was going to cover something that had never really been covered in comics, but was building off of storylines in the Batman mythos over the last 80 years. So it's like I was thinking. It was like you have enough storyline to grab and use and kind of either twist and you'll make it. Even when they revealed, what was it, just a couple of weeks ago, even when they revealed, oh, this is what we were planning to do with the end of Flash, and this is what we were planning to do with the DCEU, and it was like, it got confusing when they went from Keaton and Affleck.
Right.
That's where really, I'm like, okay, I see that. I see you wanting to keep Cavill and having and Sasha Kyle showing up together. I see that, and then they said, and I remember those stories. Keaton was going to be like the Nick Fury of the DCU, the DCEU. He was going to be, he's close to retirement. He's going to start recruiting these new heroes and putting the squad together. But then they mentioned Affleck, and I'm like, well, where does one fit in and where does one end? Like, if it's the same guy, that's the confusing part, And now you have Pattinson out. That would have been 3 different Batman at the same time.
They didn't have a plan. They said something that was great, that was grand, but they didn't have a plan. There's no way you can tell me that they had a plan. There were too many people that had irons in the fire to try to make things interesting, according to them. There was no actual plan. The plan was to catch up to Marvel by any means necessary. That was the plan.
And I think
we'll never do that.
No.
And
I think
they didn't need to.
Yeah, they really didn't.
They didn't need to.
They didn't need to.
Because they have a lot of stories on their own that they could be very successful.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think what happens is when you hear Snyder talk about it, you can hear he's a fan. You can hear it.
Yeah.
But he's so much of a fan that he's like, I want to tell this story and this story and this story. And it's like, dude, slow down. Like what you did in BVS was you started off pretty decent, but then you went left, and it was like, yes,
it was beyond left. Like you started out with a great idea, but then it introduced elements that didn't need to happen. Like again, the whole idea that the whole premise of Lex Luthor, which I'll never forgive. I'll never forgive that for as long as I live. Yeah. And that Luthor had files on every metahuman.
Yeah.
Just sitting on a computer, and you knew about Aquaman, you knew about the Flash, you knew about Cyborg, but just kept that under wraps like you're Amanda Waller. That made no sense at all.
And that's the thing. And I actually like Cavill as Superman.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good role, and I'm like, you wasted his potential. Like even to tell that story leading up to Justice League of saying this was Superman's story arc. Yeah, but you kind of wasted his potential. You should have followed it up with a Man of Steel too. Watching Man of Steel, what was it, a little earlier this week, and there's a scene when the World Agent is doing this thing and he's fighting nanites, and I'm like, this is the makings of a Brainiac. It was there. It's there, and you kind of you wasted it.
Yeah. Again, you had the elements, as Kira said so eloquently. They tried to catch up with Marvel, and they didn't need to. You could have took your time. Even now, as we sit in the desert, this could have been a perfect time.
Getting ready to be dry, people.
Yeah, you could have planned, which we know they're doing. But beforehand, when you had ample time, when you had, oh look, Marvel's going into a low period, let's go ahead and set up the DC universe as we know it. Let's do it in 2 movies. No.
You could have done Zack Snyder's version of Justice League in 2 films. You could have done it in 2 films in 1 year. You wanted to make your money, you should have done that film in that 1 year.
There you go.
Because your version was 4 hours. You could have gave us a 2-part film.
Yep.
A detailed, well told 2-part film.
Yeah.
But it's Snyder.
What they did would be like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles trying to catch up with Marvel. It's 2 completely different, and it is. It's its own universe. It's its own. Well, not really anymore, but you know what I mean. It's its own universe. There's no competition. Tell your story. Why are you worried about dude over here? People, you clearly, both houses live in the same world. You've got Marvel Comics. You have DC. They're not. They're competing with each other, but not for money, just for story and for delivery. In my opinion, it's not. We are not the same.
Yeah, they're both. A lot of the people that see one will see the other regardless.
Yeah, so, people like, oh, I'm not gonna go see DC. I'm gonna go see this Marvel one. I'm like, look, I'm a fan regardless. I'm seeing all of it.
Yeah.
I'm a sponge to this. I like this.
I want to talk bad about the competition. I'm gonna go see both movies. I want to talk.
I'm here for this. I'm like, we're talking about a time where we didn't get the type of films or shows that we're getting now. You know, people that was like, "Oh, it's too much." I said, "You shut your horse, dirty little pirate mouth." You have no idea what we had to take on.
The dark.
Inhumans, anybody?
Barbed Wire, Tank Girl.
I'm still saying humans.
I was gonna say, are we really going for the terrible shows? Because there were a lot.
I give Mystery Men a pass. It was what it was supposed to be. I give that one a pass. Give that one a pass. Besides, Casanova Frankenstein is still a really cool name to be using as a villain.
Casanova. Well, actually, the Losers was good. That's always going to be my favorite. That's always going to be my favorite.
Yeah. So I think it's just. I think in a particular situation, when it's coming to what the DCEU used to be, and what Warner Brothers was wanting, and what Zack Snyder and probably a few others was wanting, was 2 different things. You know, and I can kind of see Zack saying, "I want to tell this story," and the studio was like, "No, we want you to tell this story," but the studio doesn't know what the hell they're talking about.
But that's where I always say with Snyder, it's Snyder. There are directors that can tell epic stories, and then there are directors that can take the source material and still tell an epic story. Snyder is a visual director. I will not take that away from him. Just because of what he's done in several different movies. He's a visual director. Unfortunately, he's not a source director, which is that you don't take what's already there and you just don't emulate it to the big screen, but you decide that you want to go bigger. That's been his Achilles heel. Yeah. So that's actually what lets it down. But that's what I say, going back to, like I said, Wonder Woman 84, it was a great idea. Sure, we would have loved to actually see the Apex Predator, just not that way, like she just somehow evolved into said person.
Right. I mean, even with Zack Snyder's Doomsday. I'm like, is this what we're going to do?
Doomsday reminded me of a kid with Play-Doh.
Yeah.
somebody said it's like the Ninja Turtles.
And then the subsequent death of Superman, or
I'm like,
it was.
I'm like, you told pretty much like 3 different stories in one film. That's too much.
Yeah,
it's too much. Joe Magniello was robbed of Deathstroke.
Facts.
And
I'm like, even Jesse Eisenberg playing that version of Lex at the end, and I'm like, where was this fucker the whole time? That's who I was looking for.
That part.
The calm, the ball. I would have been fine with the hair, but the calm, sitting on the yacht. I got out of prison and nobody can touch me.
I was like, but the drip was there. With Lex Luthor, you have to be on the swag level of just, I go be in the finest of threads this side of a Mississippi pimp. But the point I make, but that's the truth though. When you see Lex ain't never in a bad suit, just like Kingpin. Kingpin will have the whitest of all whites on, not a speck of dust or dirt. It is silk pressed, because that is a lot of fabric for a big man. That's all I'm saying. That is a lot of fabric.
And he's quick to take that coat off if you got to put hands on you. He's like, oh, you ain't gonna mess up my fine linens.
Right. I mean, give the man credit. He takes off. He said, before I beat your ass, let me take off this jacket.
So I think it is with that particular universe that's now dead. It's not dying, it's dead. There was too much ambition and not enough direction. That's what it was too. Oh, we got to do this. No, you have so much history to tell.
Take your time. Just breathe.
That part.
Just breathe.
Yeah.
Like,
unless y'all know something about the planet imploding that we don't.
Yeah.
Relax.
Right.
It was just that part. Take your time. If you want to tell a Trinity story, tell the Trinity story in 3 movies, and then you can build. I'm not, but that sounds like Marvel. Well, yeah, because Marvel actually did it right. They started off singular, then they decided to do a team up, then they expanded. It's called story building. That's what it is.
And I think you're right. And Jesse Eisenberg. And here's the thing: he's actually a good actor. He's a very good actor. But that, I'm like, why did you want to go that route? Because now the Lex that we had at the beginning and the Lex we got at the end, and I'm like, what did y'all do? Give him Ritalin? Like, you calmed him down. Like,
it's almost like he sat there and said, look, I'm gonna go ahead and act the way I think Lex should act at the end of this movie, because you had me on some I Am Sam bullshit.
Yeah. popping Jolly Ranchers in people's mouth. I'm like, that's just weird. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was so weird. And some other news dealing with DC. James Gunn revealed that a few of the animated features will be getting theatrical releases. And the more I thought about this today, I said that's actually not a bad move. Because
it is not a bad. We have been screaming at the bloody rafters. Please.
Most animated
from
movies
here, just put it
better.
there.
Yeah.
No, they have always have been much better.
Yeah. DC animated films and shows have consistently, even the weakest one still hits mark.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, this is good. Like, we were getting extremely spoiled. Like, especially when Max came around, HBO Max came around. Oh, yeah, I'm watching Under the Red Hood again, of course.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, even go back to Mask of the Phantasm. That was still one of the top.
Still talked about.
Yeah, top animated movies of all time from DC was the Mask of the Phantasm. So
it was like you want to see. It's that good. You want to compete in the animation game. Toss any one of your catalog up. That's what you do.
And please pay the please don't do that thing where you think you can get a writer from somewhere else to just kind of get close to what the writers from the animated movies did. No, get the animated writers.
Pretty much keep the same people.
Why are you're gonna waste time
keep
searching
Andrea
for people?
keep Andrea Romano on the payroll.
That's all it is. Keep the same people.
Because they're like, yeah, you're right, Tafari. I was just thinking about that. The anniversary releases this year for Mask of the Phantasm. Like,
is there a steel book?
Yo,
is there a steel book?
So there's a video Tafari had put up when he's looking for, what was it, Guardians 3, and wiped out.
Damn.
Wiped out where he was at.
Mm.
I know y'all were thinking, I'm like, all right, I'm done with the promo. I'm going to watch Volume 3 before I go to bed. And I know Lady Mandar was like, you're going to subject yourself to such pain before sleeping?
No. Can't do it. Can't do it.
That's not gonna help.
I remember that. No.
That's not going to help you sleep at all.
I got to wake up in the morning and face clients. I'm not trying to have puffy face when I go to work in the morning.
It will all fly together into that beautiful blue sky. Just
nah, I'm good. Yeah, see, your chest tight, ain't it? Your chest tight? Yeah. Imagine leaving DreamCon, all your friends behind, and that comes up on the inside.
Oh my God. The song Tafari had playing has nothing on. If I hadn't heard that song at the end of, that you hear at Volume 3 when they break up,
right?
I'm like, still
too soon.
Yeah,
wet.
Yeah. Just like, what's wrong? I'm like, they didn't die, but
they definitely.
I know. They're still here.
They're still there. It's just
not the half breaths. The half breaths.
I don't want it like this anymore.
Imagine I'm sitting in the movie theater for Volume 3, and I'm just like, wife is sitting next to me. I turn my back, and I'm like, damn sense.
When you gotta sit there and ride it out, just no.
Looking at my napkin, wet as hell, and I'm just like,
too emotional. Don't write it out.
It's like don't cry.
I'm glad she didn't catch that. She did not catch that. Thank God, because when they started separating, when they're on nowhere, they separate.
Yeah,
and it's practically like, no, Drax, I need you here. You were meant to be a dad. I'm like,
damn.
Why?
Why don't you're just being mean to be mean at this point?
Let it go.
We get it, man. We get it.
It was.
It just didn't help that the commercial came on this week. Relive the trilogy. No,
not the
relive Guardians 3 now on Disney Plus.
Right.
Wow.
But once again, it's a prime example of how story building really matters.
Mm-hmm.
Because when Lila says this story was about you, Rocket, all in all, and you didn't know, and I'm like, fuck.
And
it was.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, it really was. And I'm like, oh my God, James,
that's what you can't go back,
you bastard.
Every line he always says has that little bit more impact on it. Just
when you go back and rewatch the other two, you're just like,
This when he says I can't afford to lose more than one friend a day.
On that one.
Yeah.
Even his characterization in Infinity War really changes also.
It does. It does. So, him saying that, yes, future animated features will be released in theatrical form. Maybe not all of them, but that is a good move. And I think he sees it for what it is. He was like, you have all this great content. Like, some of this stuff would have went. Look at One Piece, Dragon Ball Super, Demon Slayer. They drop in a theater for like a weekend
and clean up.
3 or 4 days tops.
I wish I seen Demon Slayer in theaters.
Like, did you see it? Yes, I did.
And it's full animation glory, especially the Entertainment District fight.
Oh man!
Oh, the Entertainment
District. My
guy has no business. Has no business. No business. You're just like, here's another ticket. I'm just saying. I'm not leaving. You're showing it in here again. Okay, I'll get up so y'all can sweep around me, but I gotta stay around.
That's the beauty of animated movies, because there's no limit to what you can do. Like, we always worry about certain things going live action. Will they translate well from animation? when sometimes the alternative is leave it animated and give it the motion picture treatment.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. They do it in Japan all the time.
As Miles.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ.
Man.
Two out the gate, my dude.
And it's funny because you have a lot of people who detract from that. They're like, oh, like my husband included, he wanted Miles to be live action. And I'm like, I understand that, but those two movies were too pristine.
Yeah.
The amount of CGI that's going to be put into that if you try to make that live action.
Exactly. You couldn't have that movie.
Not like that.
Damn near Matrix level.
Not like that. That's you're talking millions and millions. Just dealing with Peter alone.
Mm-hmm.
We just dealt with 3 different Peters. There was no way to make that false. Right. There was no way to make that clear.
Man.
There was no way to make that clear.
For it though, I mean, I think it'll be cool just to actually see it. I'm still waiting on. I'm waiting for them to get to the darker versions. For me, it's like if you're talking DC, you have Justice League Dark and Night Terrors that you can make in the PG-13 rated R area, and go nuts.
Yeah. And even
really could.
Even in the case of the Across the Spider-Verse, which will be we won't know when we're getting that third one because strikes and delays, but just the animation, the style, and we already know like the hoarded details behind the animation, but what we've seen, we've never seen animation done in that fashion,
right?
That made sense.
Yeah,
like in that first one, when you're just like, man, I thought it was me in the movie theater. And I'm like, why does it look like it's shifty? Like it's hazy, kind of. It's off center. It's because Miles is a 15-year-old kid, and you're 15. You don't know who you are. You're trying to find your way. You're all over. I'm like, that's the animation. It's all over the place. It's not, when he started sinking in with himself, and it cleared up and he cleaned up, and it's fucking genius.
I have not noticed that. I got to go back and watch it now.
Yeah, it's genius what they did. Yeah, I did watch that Lovecraft Batman.
Gotham by Gaslight.
Gotham, was it Gotham by Gaslight? No,
Gotham by Gaslight.
No. This is
Doom Comes to Gotham.
Doom comes. Oh, that was terrible.
Yeah.
Doom Comes to Gotham was terrible.
I'm like, I got it. That was definitely. It was kind of long. Was it kind of long?
It's too long. Yeah. No, it was too long.
You know, I'm like, oh, you just bumping off everybody. Okay. I know it's an Elseworlds tale. You know, not all Elseworlds tales go over well, but
they can left that one. They can left that one on the drawing board.
Yeah. I mean, it I'm like, yeah, it was kind of long.
I mean, Batman runs across all the paranormal, but you try to put you kind of did a reach on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you had Mr. Freeze, Poison Ivy, Ra's al Ghul. Was his daughter in it? Yeah, his daughter was in it.
Yeah,
Dick Grayson.
It wasn't Talia.
I think it was Talia.
It was Talia.
Yeah,
Talia.
You know, I wouldn't say not worth watching Bama Blurred. I'd say check it out. I mean, it's a nice visual. It's definitely a nice visual.
Like, you have it on in the background while you're doing something else. You're not gonna, if you miss something, you know, you're not gonna be out of it.
It's like he's solving a lot of issues.
Watch it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, so it's emotional support music. Emotional support background.
Emotional support music.
It's like I miss Batman, but I don't really have time to sit down and watch a 2-hour Batman flick. I'll just have it run in the background. I'm sure I'll hear something that'll make me turn my head at some point. Sorry.
So it's been about 10 years since we were introduced to the Superior Spider-Man. So for those who don't know, or that's listening and watching don't know who that is, there was a story arc, as wild as it is, and it was written by Dan Slott, drawn by Roberto Ramos, and I can't remember the other artists. But Dr. Octopus was dying.
Oh, fuck, French.
Yes. He had found a way to transfer his consciousness into a healthier body. Who is this healthier body, you say? Peter Parker. And Peter's conscience went into Doc Ock's body, which eventually died. However, in a weird comic book explanation type of way, Peter's essence was still in his original body. Also, Doc Ock had a newfound respect for Peter's strength and his tenacity and everything else. Here's the plus side. He made Peter a fucking billionaire.
Yep.
He started Parker Industries. He had a girlfriend. He had all types of stuff. He had all these applications. I'm like, the two brightest brains on opposite sides of the coin, and look what could have been created.
I still love the fact that when he realized how strong Spider-Man was.
Yes.
that part
battle. He was like, I almost took his jaw off. Like, yes, he's been holding back all this time. Yes.
Just the realization was sheer horror. Like, he could have killed me anytime he wanted.
Basically.
At this point,
could have been dead.
Yeah. At this point, when things went back to normal, you know, Doc Ock ended up with a new Doc Ock body, and Pete was a billionaire. He had and is it imposter syndrome for Peter that he's so used to not having that he's just accept that he's just not going to have or be happy, or you had the world at your feet pretty much. You like,
I personally blame the writers.
Yeah, there's that.
They're trying to get back to something. This is annoying. It's annoying.
I've accepted in life that when it comes to Spider-Man and Peter Parker, they do not want this man to have an ounce of happiness. He cannot have an ounce. He can't.
It's bad. I'm like, do you have to keep this man in the dirt all the time? Like, I know, like when he has to room up with Johnny Storm, and Johnny is like, dude, look, we got a whole ass building. Do you want to stay with us? You know.
I'm surprised that the way they've written Spider-Man, he's not a villain. That he just had that
would be so much more interesting for at least 2 or 3 arcs.
I mean, during the Civil War,
have him be the villain.
During the Civil War,
they got so close. They got so close to doing that at one point.
When he was up Back in Black, the Back in Black storyline during Civil War. Yes, that was the most him facing off with Wilson Fisk in prison.
Ooh, that's good.
Oh, that was a bitch-made moment right there.
when he takes the mask off, shows his face, and beats him down in front of everybody,
the entire yard,
and then turns around and the threat he gave afterwards. The only reason you're breathing is because Aunt May is breathing, and once she stops, I'll come back to finish the job. I was like.
Said, I will fill your throat with web fluid and watch you suffocate.
Yes.
I'm like,
wow, and pause.
It was an all pause moment, but it was just like you were more struck. Yeah, you were more struck.
You're not gonna say pause while he's saying it to you.
Like pause. But see, he recently had another moment similar to that against Captain America. And Cap found out real quick. I'm like, damn.
You had to fight dirty to distract Peter. Ask Daredevil.
Yeah.
You got to fight dirty to distract him.
Right.
But no, that's always been the one thing as a Spider-Man fan. I'm like, why don't we ever have a story where it's like one bad day meets Spider-Man? Just like he decides at the end of it all, I am just going to not. Or in my personal, or I'll never see F responsibility. We'll never see that. As much as I would love to see it in a comic book line for Spider-Man, we'll never see it. But to see him go dark side for a little while, but it's justified, can make a great story. It really can. Yeah. They just don't want to do it.
I mean, it's the same with Ben Reilly. It's the same with Ben Reilly. I'm like, why do y'all here? You managed to give him a person that they share history because one's a clone. They share history. So, but there's a kinship there. Like Pete views him as a brother, but at the same time, he's a little bit apprehensive, and Ben just wants a family. And every single time you turn around, I'm like, dude, you were fine as the Scarlet Spider. You really were okay as the. You didn't need the Spider-Man moniker. You could have stayed. That was probably next to the Mayday look that he had.
Mm-hmm.
His Scarlet Spider look was probably one of his best looks.
Yeah.
I was like,
Beyond Corporation had to mess with it.
Beyond.
The Beyond Corporation arc had to mess with everything. It's like, hey Ben, you're a great Scarlet Spider, but you're not Peter.
Yeah, they kept reading, they kept twisting that knife in him. Yeah, you're not Peter Parker though.
It's just, I mean, how bad is it that it's like, oh, I saved the city. Yeah, Peter would have done it in 2 days.
Yeah,
just
all types of disrespect, and they keep disrespecting Ben. Mm-hmm. They disrespect Ben just as much as they disrespect Peter.
Actually,
again, when it goes to Spider-Man, Spider-Man as a whole just can't have peace.
If you could make Ben the bad Spider-Man, I mean, he's of all of them. I think he would be able to pull it off and just have Peter actually go after him and have it be no holds barred. I'd watch that. I'd read that.
They're trying to do that now as he's now Chasm, because he's basically the Venom to the current Peter Parker story.
Yeah, and like he's just had enough. Like they pretty much wiped his mind, and like he's just like doesn't have spots of his memory of Peter or anything, not even of himself.
Right.
You know, so it's just like you're just destroying this character. Like you had, granted, clone conspiracy aside was so convoluted and confusing. But out of all of that, you got Ben Reilly, Kane, and Peter Parker. And you got rid of Kane actually kind of fairly quickly after it was all over.
Mm-hmm. So it just, like I said, when it comes to Spider-Man, Spider-Man might as well be the man of constant sorrow.
He needs his own theme when he walks around.
Yes. Playing
Johnny Cash all the time or something. I don't know.
I was like, damn, I never thought I could feel so bad for a superhero that just, he doesn't break. But again, I just feel like Marvel has an opportunity for a golden storyline. What if Spider-Man just broke?
Yeah. And the thing is, he's not even a low tier character. He's actually a badass. Mm-hmm. When given the opportunity, he's a badass.
Yeah.
And everybody sees it. They're just like, dude, Spider Beast of Burden. What? Spider Beast Burden. Actually, that sounds like a pretty good story right now. Mm-hmm. So it's weird. It's weird how, I mean, did the superior storyline age well? I think it did. It did. The ultimate spin on the Clone Saga was a lot better.
It was a good idea at first, and then it had good ideas, good intentions, and then it just went all downhill from there.
Was it the original Clone Conspiracy?
Fair. No.
Yeah, see, it's one of those.
Think about it.
It's one of those things.
It is because I'm pretty sure the great debate is still going on somewhere in the halls of Reddit about that. But I mean, Chris got a point. It does. You can't say yes and you can't say no. So you're just like, you kind of, damn, it's still there.
Yeah. You can
you
revert to some things there. You can literally go back at the clone or at the Superior Spider story arc and be like, actually, this ain't bad. Mm-hmm. Like there's some moments there that's really not bad. And despite how it started, it's crazy, but everything surrounding that moment
was pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty good. So it's just one of them things. We're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna be talking about the MCU shows. There's been a lot of talk about, these aren't the greatest shows. They might be mid, they might be trash. We're going to run through the numbers. We're going to talk about why people are thinking that, maybe some of the theories why people say some of that. But until then, we'll be right back.
Yeah, welcome back to Fast Money, y'all. We getting ready to finish up the game here. Now your teammate done scored enough points. I think you just need to get one answer right to win. You ready?
Ready.
Okay, name a podcast. Blurred's Eye View. Who should have won that Oscar? Angela Bassett. Who did win the Oscar? Don't give a damn. Name a cartoon. Ed, Edd n Eddy. Name a guest from question 1. Carl Jones. Alright, that did it. Congratulations, you won the game. Hellspawn cosplay. Now, we only need a one name. Hieroglyphics. You can stop now. Josh Evans. Chase Bowling. Josh Brown. Y'all cut the commercial. He gonna be on this for a while.
Blurred's Eye View. Be sure to peep the podcast on all platforms, or stream every episode on Always Press Record TV. APR TV now downloadable on Amazon and Roku. APR TV, the power of podcasting in the palm of your hand. Get it today.
Tuesday night during this season premiere, I forgot to play something, and I really wanted to play that. Someone play it here right now. And as we were going to cons, it's con season. We're at the height of con season, and hey, we needed that. So, but the way we're feeling today, this might be a poignant moment. So here we go.
Forget about me. Don't you forget about me. But you won't come by. Well, you come running as you walk on by. Will you come running when you walk away?
All right, there we go.
I was dancing.
I know. I seen you backstage. Lady was getting it. I'm like, hey, it's the 80s. How can you not? How can you not? Simple Minds and Duran and Talking Heads. I'm like, look, that was a time.
There was a time.
That was a time. So we are in phase 5 of the MCU. There are a lot. Most of Marvel has been concentrating on their Disney Plus shows, which is fair enough because they've conquered the theatrical releases pretty well. And in my opinion, people just been chewing it up because I call them gimmies. They either don't know the source material or they're just coming in, and that's nothing wrong with you just being introduced through television or through film. But the fact that, I don't like that and that, and like, we're going to break some of this down. We're going to start with some of the shows that started in phase 4. And one of those shows was WandaVision. And WandaVision, people were confused, but I will tell people, wait it out. There's a story being told. There's a reason why this thing started off in black and white. Watch it, enjoy it, take it in, guzzle it on down, whatever, come back and watch it again. So far, phase 4 released WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, What If, Hawkeye, Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, and She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. That was all the shows from phase 4. Now, the numbers for phase 4 are as such. Now, Loki had 2.5 million viewers. Moon Knight had 1.8. Falcon and Winter Soldier had 1.8. And this is what's funny to me. There were people who didn't really like Falcon and Winter Soldier, but loved Moon Knight. But you had the same amount of people.
Yeah.
The same amount of people watching the show. WandaVision, 1.8 million. Hawkeye, 1.5. She-Hulk, 1.5. Secret Invasion, 994,000 people. Miss Marvel, 775,000. Which is weird because people trashed Secret Invasion. There's some moments in Secret Invasion that we can definitely say, okay, they didn't stick the landing on that.
Moments.
Yeah. Those moments are, in my opinion, Maria Hill and Talos. I was upset with those two characters not being around anymore. I wanted some closure. I didn't feel like I got that kind of closure, or a blink and you miss it type of moment. It seemed like two characters that you seem to almost throw away because especially when you see how Talos and Nick are talking to each other. You see the friendship, you see the respect, you see those were some deep conversations. So to kind of blow him off in a way,
yeah,
I was kind of, I'm like. So Verb says he hated Winter Soldier. It should have been Falcon taking over alone. Well, you got to think. Go ahead, Will.
I disagree with that because they try to do, and I can't take credit for this. I have to give Hellspawn cosplay because he said first before I did. You got to look at Falcon and Winter Soldier the same way you would look at 48 Hours. It's literally the same plot. And when he said that, I was like, it's the same plot. It's 48 Hours. I'm like, I can't argue with that.
When you think about seeing them in Civil War, you had two people who are best friends with the same person, and it's like they're competing for his attention. And it was funny.
Yeah.
Because that's what it was. It was a buddy cop drama, and we needed that. People were fussing like, why didn't Bucky get the shield? Bucky is suffering with things he's done in his past. This ain't the Bucky from the comics. Like, you don't get to blinking and all your troubles go away.
I laugh because I had to ask some people, because I had some friends of mine that were like, I was like, y'all do remember Bucky with the shield in the comics, right? Because that was basically John Walker.
Yeah.
I was like, you did get your Bucky with the shield. The guy who's smashing in the guy's face right now.
Yeah.
He just doesn't have an arm.
Crazy.
Yeah, everything. He wasn't.
I'm sorry.
He was like, hey, I killed people of influence.
Yeah.
Over time. So this is what it is. They want me to take it over. Cap or Steve wants me to take it over. I'm gonna take it over and do the best I can with it. But they're two different people.
Yeah. But I mean, it's if you're gonna stick to Falcon Winter Soldier, the only thing I wish they didn't do, they lightly touched on one of the more forgotten stories of the MCU in the Cap era, was the Isaiah Bradley story.
Yeah.
They lightly, it was almost like a light buttery brisk over that story. Like, yeah, we were racist, we had a Captain America. That's it. It's like, just wait a minute.
I want to know more.
You know they're not gonna do that.
Yeah, you just had a lot of people go, there was a Captain America before Steve? Yes. The darker stories Marvel wouldn't tell. Well, they did tell, but you're not
red, white, and black. Red, white, and black.
He's supposed to come back in Cap 4.
Yeah.
I was gonna say you might get that through the Young Avengers with his grandson.
Yeah. You might.
That
was Patriot.
That was the thing that they're trying to introduce this next generation in a soft way. They're trying to introduce, because these mantles are being passed. Like, this isn't the comics where you get Cap, Steve, and Thor, and they running gambit all the time. Like, yeah, they kind of, suspension of disbelief, but yeah, these people got to go their way. Cap is old.
That's true.
Tony's gone. Thor has an adopted daughter.
It's just, Love and Thunder was just, let's just take Ragnarok and just amp it up a notch. No,
you should have done. I don't know what they should have done.
Worth way.
Love and Thunder was there, but then you had it, but then it was just like you dropped the ball.
You didn't need to go comedy again. You could have actually went serious, and at the same time, you could have showed more of what's his face actually killing gods. That's just me.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm just saying.
You don't have that damn pantheon for nothing. Yes.
I mean, the pantheon of gods, and you're gonna stand and tell me that the God Butcher is just chilling somewhere.
You had it right the first time.
Yeah. the God bitch.
Yeah, I had it right the first time.
I was trying not to, but that, that's the thing about it. You have a whole pantheon of gods, and yet Gore is just going around being 2-0, and people are scared of him.
Yeah,
it's like you took out two gods. You're not really just.
Would have been nice for him to show up in the pantheon and make a threat.
I would have loved it. Now that would have been good if he showed up in the Pantheon and been like, so all y'all are just sitting here safe and whatnot, and we prayed to you. Yeah. Instant slaughter. That's all we needed.
Yeah. Have a lesser god show up, and he slays them. It doesn't have to be Zeus. It could just be one that we really don't know, and he's like, this is who this is who your people pray to. Blah.
Yeah, and that would have had a greater impact. That really would have had a greater impact in that movie, but they stayed too campy. You stayed too cheesy. You try to make a funny Thor.
He said it. Kratos had to kill 3 games worth of gods before people realized he was a problem.
Man, I mean, you ain't lying, Safari, because after Ares, I've been like, okay, this man's a problem. You wait till he killed all gods, the sisters of fate, and Kronos before you realize we need to do something about him.
Kratos was pre John Wick. That's who he was. he was on a tear. He was like, you know what?
I like it.
Enough's enough,
right?
I'm just saying. As much as I love the God of War series, I'm like, how was it that somebody on Olympus wasn't going, shouldn't we do something about him?
Ooh.
Damn. Ooh, good Lord.
Gore with the High Evolutionary?
Oh my.
That's a problem.
Farrah, what do you be thinking about? I mean, for real.
Wait, let him cook. Let him cook. Right. Hold on.
That's chaos. I'm
right.
here for it.
I'm not saying don't stop. I'm just saying, like, yo.
Oh.
Yeah.
To put those two together in a row?
Yeah.
If you give Gore the High Evolutionary
an uneasy alliance
Jesus.
With the Black Sword?
Yeah.
Damn. That is a
Green Goblin there too, just to put a little sprinkle.
Just a little sprinkle. With the wave cap.
Yeah,
listen.
I can't imagine them sitting down and having a civilized conversation.
Oh no, it's more of a.
Actually, you know what?
Beginning of season 6.
I take that back. You really could.
Let's go.
You really could. You
round
really
that table out. We got
really could see Gore the Evolutionary having a conversation.
Gore, High Evolutionary, Green Goblin. Let's round that table out.
The tribunal.
Ooh, I can see him
evil
saying,
tribunal.
Look, he said it like he said it. High Evolutionary. There is no God. Gore, and I'm here to keep it that way.
Yeah, they would eventually come to consensus.
Yep.
Or High Evolutionary saying, I'm not a god. Gods make mistakes.
Ooh, that's a bar.
That's cold. Yeah.
Woo! We let him cook.
That would have been that would have been right there. It's like.
So I think, and I'm one of the guys that says you don't like shows like Miss Marvel or She-Hulk or even WandaVision or even Hawkeye because the majority of those they were surrounded by around women.
Yep.
Hawkeye, Clint Barton was in retirement. We're introducing Kate Bishop at this point. She-Hulk is Jennifer Walters.
And a lot of
they were crying. They were crying about that. They were like, granted, CGI aside, and if you look close, you can really see it. But is it horrible? Was it like Love and Thunder? No, it wasn't that bad.
I say they didn't like She-Hulk just because of the fact that a lot of people didn't understand the character.
Exactly.
If you've never read one of the runs, then you'll see how so freaking close they were to her in the series to the point to where I was like, y'all realize I was trying to tell somebody else, you understand if you try to troll a show like She-Hulk, you do realize you're just going to take everything that you've done and make an episode out of it.
Yeah.
Which they
did. Which they did. They exactly did. And the fact that I've seen these conversations online. Oh, she's copying off of Deadpool. And I'm like, Jesus Christ.
You had to sit there and shake your head like I did.
And I'm like, do I really want to do this online? Not necessarily.
That's when you sit there. That's when you sit there and go.
At my big age, I'm like, do I want to do this?
At the time.
You don't have no idea how much I wrestle with that. I'm like,
sometimes you gotta go to the God Butcher. Sometimes you have to step in and correct the problem.
There you go.
Sometimes you have to sit there and be like.
Now that I recall, I actually did do that. I did do that because I said actually, and I threw up a screenshot of She-Hulk's run of Peter David and Deadpool's first appearance. I said actually, boom, with the dates. and drop the mic. I did do that.
And the fact they don't understand that the way She-Hulk speaks, it's really the writers being frustrated with what the directions they've been given.
Mm-hmm.
Like how she wanted to be drawn, how she went from having a nice story to back to a semi campy story. The writers didn't like it. So what they did in the comics, they basically said, okay, well, I guess we got to do it this way because the powers that be didn't like the fact that I was beating up on superheroes because I guess it's because I'm green. And they stressed it as an innuendo, but they don't understand that's the vehicle She-Hulk is. In the same way, Miss Marvel. Like, I get it. A lot of people are not going to.
They don't. Great. My thing is, I really liked Miss Marvel.
It was done well.
It was done really well.
It was done well.
You said what? Will?
I said Miss Marvel was dope.
Yeah. It was fun. You know, she's a fan. She's a fan in real life. Jesus Christ. Yeah. She was correcting people on the red carpet. She was like, actually, and I'm like, yo, I like her energy.
That's how you know when they got it right. When it's an MCU fan who's a superhero, but still an MCU fan.
Right.
She's basically everybody. But it's crazy how they always sit there and it's like, well, I didn't like Miss Marvel. Why? Because, well, I just don't like the fact, she's just so. I said, it's not everything, and we're kind of going into like Star Wars toxicity.
Yes.
Not everything that Marvel puts out is going to be remotely aimed at you. I mean, even one would think you would kind of open up your parameters a little bit, enjoy different
yes, it's worth the watch.
Characters.
It's worth the watch.
Yeah.
Definitely worth the watch.
But no, it's just a whole idea when it comes to Miss Marvel. I'm like, it really was done well. How they introduced Red Dagger, how they introduced the Order, the story behind the bangle, which leads into the Marvels. It's been done well. It just, if it's not for you, you shouldn't hate on it because it's not for you. That's just being a dick.
And Iman Vellani, she's just fun to watch. Like she's just giddy and fangirling out. And it was just fun to watch her kind of, even in the Marvels trailer, when Nick and Carol show up and the first thing she says is, "Did I get in?"
Is this a test? Is this an Avengers test?
Like, did I pass the Avengers test? And I'm like, that's funny, and it's fun to see her in that vein and it's even better to see that she doesn't have to hide her identity, that she has a support team around her. And seeing that perfect example, seeing that relationship between her and her mother, and they're trying to find common ground, and it was like, okay, you're trying to make her this way, she's trying to tell you that's not it for me. I can't rock that. I can't rock it this way. It's just not my life. And her mother, they come into terms with that. And her father was supporting her all the way.
Yeah. Adorable.
Yeah.
He was willing to make a fool of himself, and he's like, "I'm the Hulk," and I'm like, "Okay, it's corny, but I like where your head. I like where your head is at."
Support.
I said this before. Miss Marvel is Peter Parker, but everybody knows her identity.
Yeah.
It's Spider-Man, but everybody knows her identity. There's no, and she's a girl. That's the only difference.
That's
it's
it.
the exact same energy.
And the fact that you have a show like Loki, which I knew was going to go over well. It's Tom Hiddleston, and these women are just, they fawn over this dude. They fawn over this dude. It's Loki. He likes his chocolate as well. He does. He likes his chocolate. He has chocolate on his side. He likes what he likes. But
it likes him back.
It likes him back. Him and Bucky have something in common.
Giddy.
So watching Loki, and I knew that was going to be a hit. I knew Loki was going to be a hit because he plays that role so well. And because he's not really a villain, he's more or less the child that got ignored.
Pretty much.
That's who he. That's how he plays it. He's the child that got ignored, and he's just wanting attention from his father. Because if you watch his progression from the Avengers and everything else, and he finds out when he finds out his mother died.
Yeah.
Oh, all bets was off. All bets was off. He was like, no, she may not have been my blood mother, but she was my mother. I will raise hell.
That was his duality though, but yeah, Loki as a show introducing Morbius, Agent Morbius, the TVA, Miss Minutes, and now that we're going into the next season, where I guess Disney made a decision because
they're not changing.
He's still there. He's still there in the trailer, so Disney must have made a decision.
I feel like they might have because he's barely there.
Yeah.
Well.
So yeah. Oh no, go ahead.
But no, I was gonna say it's seeing these characters such as Loki and build that narrative around, because this is the introduction. This is what we're doing. We're going in phase 5. Who's the next big bad? Kang. He's the next big bad. How do we do it? We got a bunch of different ways, literally a bunch of different ways that we can show this dude. And here we have Loki, who really finds out he's a man out of time, because his original timeline, he's not there, so he can't really go back. You know, he can't go back and be like, hey, Thor, I'm fine. And then Thor's like, you know what, you've done this before. Like, you've done this before. And
but it is weird though that you say he's a man out of time, and yet everybody's always trying to align when it comes to next season, they're trying to figure out where's his next spot going to be. Now that, again, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched the first season of Loki, he who remains is, he who is no longer with us. So so it's gonna be interesting to see where he goes from here, because I mean, like you said, he's not technically a hero, but he's not really a villain.
Yeah, he hated Loki until the miniseries, see? Because it was a different layer.
Perspective, right? And you saw the different variants of Loki, which I still thought was pretty good.
Yeah. And granted, there were some really great standout moments, especially after he ends up in the other part of the timeline where he meets other versions of himself.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why is this so good? And the score is phenomenal.
Yes.
Whoever the music composer was, he's up there with John Williams at this point.
Yeah, because I'm like, yeah, this is really good. The fact that they bypass, they look at the Infinity Stones and they just keep them in a drawer, like
that was disrespectful. Just
very.
I'm like, damn, this was all for nothing.
Yeah.
So we had 20 years of the Infinity Saga, and y'all just got it sitting up here like a paperweight.
Yeah.
Cool.
Literally.
So it's stuff like that, and when you see shows like that, and then I think Moon Knight didn't get as high as a mark because the general public didn't know who Moon Knight was. However, Oscar Isaac plays his ass off. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
This dude, he killed the role. He laid into it. And it made you keep guessing. Even with comic book readers. Because let's face it, he's got a very complicated history. You couldn't play it no other way than say, identity crisis.
I just like the fact they did. Now I'm still kind of mad that we never really got to see Jake until the end.
Oh, it's such a tease.
I'm like, really? So we got to see two personalities, but the one we were waiting on was such a tease until the end. I was like, I wanted to hear what Jake said, because technically Jake was the more active out of 3 personalities. More than Mark at some point.
He's the most dangerous one as well.
Yeah.
Because I mean, look, they teased it all the way up into that final scene.
Yep.
When he dies and he finds himself, and they're trying to figure out, and they pass by the sarcophagus, and it's just shaking violently. And they're just like, yeah. And nobody really, unless you're really keen-eyed and paying attention, They didn't catch that.
Yeah.
And you're just like, no, there's something more, which I can appreciate with the shows. They give nice little Easter eggs. You just got to be keen enough to see them.
Yep.
You know, kind of keep an eye out on certain things, you know, or certain phrases that said, you know, or certain people that even show up. You know, I think with the case with Secret Invasion, other than the Maria Hill and Taylor situation, I think you could have gave us one more episode.
That needed to be 13 episodes. That needed to be 13 episodes.
You think 13?
Yeah,
and longer time.
I think they're playing with the times thing.
So. No, the time it was an hour. Each show was an hour.
The last one was short. Yeah,
the last one was short, like 44 minutes.
Maybe the first two might have been 40 to 50 minutes. After that,
the rest
it
of them
did not go over 40.
It felt. Let me tell you, it felt like an hour.
That's pacing, and I agree with that. And that part of that pacing was, I think, the reason why people are very fed up with it.
But that's the thing. This is where I'll sit there and say I'll probably be alone on this branch when I say this. Secret Invasion had the right amount of episodes to put it exactly where it needs to be for the rest of the story to continue.
And I think no, you're not alone, because that's the mark a lot of people are missing. Is that the story isn't over.
Right.
This has far-reaching issues going on. It's a ripple effect going on. Like, there's a million freaking Skrulls on the planet.
But that's the thing that I was telling folks about this. So y'all gotta look at it this way. We're so used to series telling an arc story in a matter of episodes. We're so used to it that we're not used to something being open-ended. That we're not used to something to where, okay, case in point, Fury may have saved the president. He may have rescued those that were on the farm / Matrix farm that may have been liberated, but the battle still goes on. He goes back up to Saber. Now the Kree and the Kree and Skrulls are actually having peaceful negotiations, but at the same time, the story is not over. We're not sure if there's another cell, if there's another graphic type Skrull, if a super Skrull had actually been successfully planted somewhere and we don't know about it. That's the thing about Secret Invasion, where they left it at a stopping point that's not the end, but everybody expects the end because we're so used to getting end stories. So that's why I'm sitting there saying, eventually it'll get to a certain point, but just for now, it was perfect how it was done. But again, we're used to getting an end story, so it just makes sense.
So Tafari mentions that Gravik's whole meltdown kind of felt fast forwarded. I don't think it was that. I think it's because he had so much passion because he trusted Fury.
Yeah.
That he felt betrayed, and it was like, now this was his moment. This was his moment. Like, I'm in the same room with the guy who I felt betrayed me, lied to me, had me do things over time that I normally wouldn't have done, but I did it for the sake of his man because I trusted him. So I think it was just that moment where he just he snapped.
But you know what's so interesting? I will concede to that. There should have been an episode that showed where Gravik turned.
Yeah,
there should have been an episode that showed where Gravik lost faith in Fury.
Yeah,
that part alone would have actually helped out slightly. But I mean, but his monologue.
It would have helped if they put that in the Captain Marvel movie. That would have helped significantly.
Yeah, because you only get introduced to Gaia, and it's like she has no speaking part at all.
No,
like she has.
I didn't know. I forgot she was that there was a kid in the movie.
Yeah, she's the one that was playing on the pinball machine. She was showing Carol the pinball machine.
Yep.
That was Gaia, and so she wasn't speaking. She was like signaling, like you know. So I'm like, you didn't really have that full introduction. So a lot of people wouldn't catch it. You know, they wouldn't see. They'd be like, who is this? Who did they come from? I think it's one of those things where they were trying to figure out. Like I shut down one conversation real quick when they said they're trying to get these Skrulls to another planet. What about the farm that Thanos was on? I said nobody knew about that, and the person that really knew about it is not on planet.
Pretty much.
So Nick wouldn't know about it. The other Skrulls don't know about it.
So
Harold ain't around.
No, wait a minute. Because people think that Rhodey's been a Skrull since at least Civil War. So if that's the case, that Skrull would have known about it.
But he's not really alive.
Yeah, that. Yeah.
Huh?
Hey, listen.
They did. The director did confirm that. They did. I will say this: the director did confirm that Rhodey was body swapped sometime during Civil War.
Hey.
He did come out. They did come out and say it because that was the great debate that he did get swapped during Civil War.
Right. They swapped him while he was in the hospital. That's why he was in the hospital again.
So they have to, so they have to explain. They have to explain the end game battle.
That part.
Will, wait, Will, hey, let Will talk for 2 seconds. Will, be watching. He's grasping.
Say, respectfully, the same way Uno don't tell me how to play Uno in my house. Those was not swapped during no damn Civil War.
I believe he was. I believe he was swapped.
I'm just saying, just for that simple argument. That's all.
Well, I still believe it was after Endgame personally, but that's just me because I'm
the same.
It's hard to sit there and not see red blood. It's like he was bleeding when a whole building fell on him, and at the same time he's standing up at the funeral with no apparatus around him. I'm just pointing that out. It's like no one noticed. No. That's like you can go back and watch Endgame, and people have actually went back and have still frames where they literally show Rhodey and
it was Brody, Rocket, and Ant-Man.
Yeah, all right beside each other, and he is standing up, and the apparatus that you do see him with in Civil War, where it was visibly around his stomach and around his legs, you see none of it around the suit.
Well, no, I mean, it's also been what? It had been 5 years since all of that happened. So, yeah, no, I don't expect him to have all of that stuff on him because healthcare.
Wait. There have been technological advancements, but I still call weak sauce on that.
Wait a minute. It makes sense for him. And this is, I'm backing up my theory on this because I'm with you, Spartan. I believe he was switched after Endgame because they said, "Oh, he's in hospital gone." I said he was injured in Endgame as well.
He was.
So it could have happened.
Okay, no, but wait a minute, because if you think about when you saw him at the last scene, he still was struggling to walk. Yeah. So to go back to what Black Spartan just said, if we're talking about the last time he's speaking about that. He was almost standing on his own, and then to go backwards.
But look at the harvest
right now.
But look at the harvest where the Skrulls had collected dang near every Avengers, and some of Thanos's and the Black Label's DNA. The only spot you could have done that, where everybody was in full view, would have to be at the major battle. So,
I'll be honest with you. First, that explanation is so crazy to me because it's like, are they going on the ground to get this shit? Like that always bothered me.
It's damage control.
Damage control.
They use damage control.
But that's the thing. But that's the reason why when they came out with that, I'm like, no, that doesn't add up. It adds up at the end because everybody's guard is down. Thanos is beaten. The world is saved. Nobody is looking to see who's getting body swapped.
Yeah, you figure. Like Cole Obsidian, his hand was in the Arctic. It got cut off, and so of course, what was left of Shield, and obviously, Fury has his hands in a lot of stuff.
Pretty much,
he's just like, "Hey, we need to get that. We need to get that now because I got an idea, and ain't gonna like it,
And also, Captain Marvel did bleed on 2 accounts. She did bleed. She did bleed in her own movie. So there is a chance. That's where the blood may have came from her. She didn't bleed in Endgame. She didn't get a scratch. She didn't get a scratch on her in Endgame. She did get bloodied up in her own movie though.
She got caught off guard in Endgame. That's all.
Yeah.
It was a sucker punch. That's what it was.
Pretty much.
I unfortunately think we are thinking about this more than they did.
Of course.
I mean, that is painfully obvious. I promise you.
Like, you know, we're sitting here thinking like, yo, this couldn't have happened here because this makes sense.
But that's great story building, though. If you have a great story, if your story building is good, you will always have people looking for the plot holes and keep them talking. You keep them talking, you keep them interested. You keep them interested, you still have traction. It's brilliantly done that way.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reason why
you figure you opened up the show with Agent Ross, and I'm like, okay, I get your Agent Ross, but now I'm trying to figure out when the hell did that happen? Because the last time we seen Agent Ross, Okoye was freeing him from holding.
Yep.
So did he just they go their separate ways? And you know, when did it happen?
Exactly. That's the thing. It's like, again, we'll always be questioning. Like, let's be honest. Take WandaVision. We kept on saying I was one of those that kept on saying Nightmare Mephisto's going to show up. I kept saying it's like this is a Mephisto moment.
There was so much going on. You see the red? Look at the curtains. I'm like, yo, calm down. Just calm down. Calm down. Everybody, calm down.
That and Pietro was going to be real. I was hoping Pietro would be real.
So I think it's really safe to say that, you know, there's moments, and Feige actually said it. He said prior to the shows, they just kind of had meetings and they kind of, you know, connected and worked stuff out. He says, but now we have to use a literal whiteboard to make the connective dots where they need to be, you know, because it's going to be a lot. It's a lot going on. And for the casual fan who just are introduced to these characters through the films or through the shows, go check out a graphic novel.
Ding, ding.
And kind of get some because a lot of times that does bring new readers in. You know, they're like, oh wow, this is cool. They go get a new Iron Man, or they get a new Cap, or they get a new Spider-Man, or they get a new Captain Marvel, whatever. So it does bring in new readers. Go check it out. Nobody said you had to buy everything. That might be the case, but yeah, check it out. You know, people are kind of in an uproar like, oh, Secret Invasion is not going to be like the comics. I'm okay with that because we don't need to have the other. Who do we trust as far as the superheroes? That's creating a whole nother narrative that you can't really project too well live action.
Pretty much.
But as a political intrigue type thing, perfect.
I think you said this. People were expecting James Bond, not Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
Yeah.
I think that's what it comes down to, because the storytelling on that one was it was different, but it was good. At the same time, a lot of people are expecting this high octane. You're gonna see a superhero cameo. You're going to see this. You're going to see that, and not getting it. Oh, this show is trash because it didn't live up to your imaginary expectations.
Right.
That's why.
I mean, people were upset with What If. I'm like, why are you upset with What If?
Yeah, that was crazy.
That's weird.
That was phenomenal.
Absolutely.
And it was the last time we got to hear
Star-Lord's channel.
Still to this day, I look at Peter Quill and I'm like, you see
what you could have done differently?
Do you see? I'm not mad at you, Peter, but do you see? He was the Robin Hood of space.
Even Party Thor was interesting.
Party Thor
was interesting as all get out. And even the Doctor Strange story, where he basically went to the library.
Good. I mean, listen, all those stories hit in different ways. All those stories hit.
When they did the face off in that whole thing, and like he's swallowing, I'm like, yo, did he just do that?
Mm-hmm.
And he did it. Why? Because once again, Christine.
Yeah. Oh, I still laugh at the Watcher just narrating at the end, and the Eltron goes, "I see you."
Yeah.
What?
I really wish they got James Spader for that whole thing. I mean, it was fine. But the way he does Ultron,
yeah,
he's got it's much more gravel. It's got more.
It's gravelly. It's the monologue that comes with it, though.
Yeah, that even in Age of Ultron, the speeches he get, I'm like, you're red and you're just reading this so well. that it's scary.
It was the first time I sat there and said, "See what happens when you give AIs abilities."
That part.
Stare in your
Start
face.
thinking.
It's in your face.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't understand. I mean, it's always going to be one show weaker than the other. Like, people really didn't like Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I'm like, well, why didn't you like it?
Because of racism. They don't like that. America runs on racism.
Hate and waste racism.
The one. I see that coming.
Absolutely.
But see, it was crazy because what he was saying, that speech he gives at the end, it's actually a really good speech.
Yeah.
He put it in their face. He was like, look, you can stop world hunger with a phone call.
Senator, you gotta do better.
Right.
I'm Tupac.
It was a whole
not Tupac.
Man. Although the whole thing.
Go to bed, Will. Stop while you're behind.
Although now after watching Twisted Metal, I can't unsee that now.
Worst delivery ever. So,
that part's far.
Yeah, he said Ultron, the first person to beat someone's ass into, out of, and through multiple dimensions at the same time.
Great.
That was a hell of a battle. It really was a hell of a battle.
That shit was so great.
You know,
but why can't they get those writers to write other stuff?
That's a good question.
Why are the one-offs so much better than these even 6 arc stories? How do you get that much, pull that much emotion or that much intrigue into a 30-minute short?
Because someone has given it a lot of thought, and someone up high said that this won't sell.
And see, I think their other issue, like, okay, with WandaVision, it was originally supposed to be 10 episodes. COVID hit.
Yeah.
So WandaVision was affected. Falcon and Winter Soldier was affected. What If was affected. You know, so because you know, we did get the tease of Gamora with Thanos' weapon. So you know, like we didn't get that, but she's going to be in the next season. But it affected those episode runs. So I think between COVID, because I'm looking at their episode numbers, and it's like WandaVision was 9, Falcon and Winter Soldier was 6, Loki was 6, What If is 9, it was supposed to be 10. You know, Hawkeye is 6, She-Hulk is 9, you know, Ms. Marvel 6. So I'm like, I don't know if you're trying to play with the numbers to see which works better as far as storyline. Because your biggest story that's going to come out is Daredevil, and you're looking at 18 episodes,
and they're banking hard on that.
Yeah,
they're banking hard on Born Again.
I am not looking forward to seeing this show. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not gonna hold you. I'm not looking forward to it.
I got faith in it.
Yeah,
I got faith in it.
I've been having faith for the last 5 years, and it's not paying off for me. It's not
5 years.
Okay, so
I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be nice to my ex-husband. Okay.
No, I'm waiting for Kira to go mid. Kira's hanging on the mid button right now.
B. There's been okay. Can we have this conversation?
Sure.
Can we have this conversation?
I'll be right back. Go ahead.
Yeah. I brought up in the chat the point saying that Secret Invasion is probably mid, and so I asked, all right, if it's not mid, what's worse or what's better? I think I said what's worse. And I think you said, what did you say? I can't remember. Did you say Falcon and Winter Soldier?
I did say story. I did say I said if I had to choose story wise, it'd be Falcon and Winter Soldier would be worse.
And what is that? Are we so who's mid? Who's mid?
I said no. I said story wise because honestly, it's Rosemary's Choice really. But I sat there and said from a story point, it did gloss over for all the shows. It did gloss over a lot in its short run more than any other series. So if anybody was going to be the worst of the series, it was Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's what I said. I'm
sorry, sir. Secret Invasion was not glossed over in 6 episodes?
Because Secret Invasion is not an end. It is literally, it stops at a point to where it's not the end of the story.
But it should still itself have
It's
any middle.
expansive.
Okay, but again, it's not the end of the story. Like I was saying before, what we're so used to are series having a beginning and an end. We are used to it. So
I'm not even talking about.
I'm getting to it.
I'm not even talking about a beginning, middle, or an end. I'm talking about them glossing over a major story arc. Even if you don't have an exact pinpoint of when you want to call Secret Invasion beginning or when it's ending, that is a major brick of story that they condensed into under 6 hours. Badly. It's bad. They did what they did to Secret Invasion, what they did to Gore the God Butcher. It's not. I'm not happy with what they're doing. I'm not. It's terrible. It is. I'm saying it is terrible. I expect better.
I don't know if it's terrible, but I do understand some of where you're coming from. I think that for me, some of the story just kind of missed the mark. Like I did not like that Fury didn't deal with Gravik. I thought that was unearned that Gaia did, even though Gaia, I know he Gravik supposedly killed the mom or whatever, but I feel
killed
like
the mom and killed the dad.
Yeah, killed the mom and the dad.
Yeah, killed the mom and the dad.
Oh, okay, point. But I still think that the way that it ended, it still should have been Fury and Gravik, and I actually think that it would have been better if they had switched, even though he would have died, obviously, the way they did it. But it would have done better for Gaia to be where the president was to actually fulfill what her dad was trying to do. It was things like that to me that I felt like
saying that not all scrolls are bad.
I get that thing.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. Okay. So, like, I think that instead, if Gaia had been where Fury was along with the president, I feel like it would have been a little bit more streamlined. There was something else too. Because I felt it was good. I felt like there was some really, really high points. There was a lot of people saying that Sam did not do a good job acting, which I totally disagree on.
Oh, I totally disagree with that.
If you look at a lot of the content creators, they're like, Sam was not really good in this after, and I'm like, we seen two different things. That's just me.
If you don't like you don't like the story, or you don't think the story is believable, that's not the same as an actor not being able to get across that feeling. Yeah. He was emotive.
Yeah,
it's the story that you
the scene where he's on the train with Talos. That's the scene. Yeah, the scene where he's talking to Rhodey in the restaurant. We seen it one way. And then as the story progressed, we're like, oh no, you got to go back and look at that again, because now you see that conversation from a totally different angle. Because remember, we walked out of it.
I think we can all agree on though that Rhodey reveal is horrible. I mean that reveal was
that was really bad.
But Laney, to your point, because Safari said it best, I was going to counterpoint about them switching. I said, if they switched and we knew what we knew about President Ritson, to think that a Skrull saved his life from another Skrull, and Tafari said it best. He sat there and said Ritson knew a green man saved his life and still said light him up.
Yeah. Oh, and even in Fury confronted him on it. He called him up. He called him on it.
Yeah.
He said because he knew this is not how this was supposed to play out. Now you've gotten people getting killed, innocent people getting killed.
Yeah.
You got vigilantes running loose. I'm leaving this planet. I'm going back. I'm going back to my job.
You gotta call Sam Wilson. You're like, Mr. President, you gotta do better.
I'm Tupac.
but there had to be some that we had to know at during Secret Invasion there was gonna be some character going to be killed off. Damn, really, Tafari?
What is it?
Tafari, all right. Listen,
really, Tafari?
I know.
Oh, wow.
It's a good joke. Even a great joke.
No lie, he did. He really did.
No, it was not the right time.
He did. I'm gonna say he did go full January 6th. He
did. But hey, just miracle. I'm getting what's his face or the X-Men that was calling out mutants. Dang, what's the president's name?
Oh, that president.
I'm starting to get those type of vibes.
When it got turned into a jellyfish.
Yeah.
Oh,
I forgot the president's name during X-Men that was the same way about mutants. He's like, a mutant saved your life. He says, and it was kind of that moment. He's like, Skrulls infiltrated the White House, sir, and a Skrull saved your life. Well, get them off my planet. Damn.
he came out of there angry. Like angry.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I get it, but this ain't how you do this. And he's saying, Fury said it. He was like, actions like that is what make you a one-term president.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, it was like Fury is quick to call somebody on their bullshit. No, he did it with the council.
Well, that was
he did
for Captain number 4.
Like, being that it's a dumbass decision, I refuse to ignore it.
I recognize that it's a decision, but it's still a stupid
ass decision.
So, were there some moments in Secret Invasion that would have paid off a little better, or when you look back at it, like I said, the conversation between him and Rhodey in the restaurant?
Mm-hmm.
When we first seen that, and then Fury walks out of there. Now, mind you, when he comes down to Earth, he got a limp. He's walking. He's tired. He's gray. He ain't got his pat. He ain't him. He's not him. And then after that conversation, when he comes out, it's almost like he's defeated.
Yeah.
But then you realize by the next episode, oh no, he's not defeated. He just realized the person he's talking to is not the person he was talking to.
Right.
That would have been a perfect time to play James Brown's Big Payback, though. I'm back. It was there.
I said it in the chat. I said it in the chat when he went back to that safe house. He put that patch on. I'm like, my ninja back. Oh, yeah.
I just thought to myself the whole entire time when he's getting back to his roots. I'm like, how is this not you played? How are you gonna play old school at the perfect time when we's quote unquote married, and you missed the mark? And that beloved scene, dang! I was like, I had to go.
Foreshadowing,
that was foreshadowing. That was good. But yeah, but like you said, him and Rhodey having that conversation, it's like, okay, we gonna really talk. Guys like us do not get in positions just because our daddies know somebody.
I said this was the brother talk. This was definitely the brother talk,
right?
And I'm like, yo, okay. I mean, he ain't wrong, but
still, that was a little bit of realism.
And he took too much pride, and I'm like, damn, Rhodey, you took a lot of pride in the firing him. Took a lot of pride, So you think Lady Mandalore said it? I think she says, I think he's a Skrull.
Oh no, they're pulling a metal.
Man,
you know what?
I'm not gonna let him off that easy. That was white man energy. I'm not gonna let him off that easy.
Well, if you think about it, he's still carrying out Gravik's plan. He said that if you don't do X, Y, and Z, I'm going to unleash all hell on all of the Skrulls, on all of the Americans. So all he has to do is he can still declare World War III, except now it's on whatever land he chooses.
Fair point.
So you bring up an interesting point, because I think that one of the things that I wanted to see more was more reveals that they did not have, of like that changes everything.
There's a million Skrulls.
You see how Nick's face turned when Talos
but that was revealed at the end. I would have wanted some of those reveals throughout. You know what I mean?
Oh, they're coming, baby. Oh, baby.
They're coming.
Wait.
But then what is Secret Invasion about, though? You know what I'm saying? Like, isn't that one of the biggest?
It's already happened.
Yeah.
It's the seat. They have already secretly invaded the entire planet.
We
still don't know who's out.
But
shouldn't that have come out at that time?
Wait a minute. To Kira's point, didn't the president get nailed in the caravan?
Hold on, Will. What'd you say, lady? Say it again.
No, I said, shouldn't that have been brought out during that time? Like, isn't that what Secret Invasion is supposed to be? It was about to show us at the end that we have 1,000 million, whatever, right? But during the show itself, all of those characters.
Yeah, when they were on the train,
he literally said there's a million Skrulls on the
planet. When Talos said, there's
but that we didn't have a lot of those interactions.
No.
Think
You
about
only
those
needed the-
characters.
Mm-hmm.
Think about those characters. We didn't have a lot of those interactions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
They're getting continuations
liked it.
in the.
But that's what I'm getting at, Lenny. That part right there, Lenny, is what I'm talking about. The continuation that we only saw a small cell, and yet you're pretty much proving my point. Where Talos sat there and said, "Oh, there's a lot more of us on this planet than when you left," and in Fury's shocked face was like, "Why?"
What do you
He
mean?
says, "Well, you didn't come down here and ask. Well, you didn't come up here and tell me either, motherfucker."
So he was like, we need a place. He was like, we barely get along with ourselves. We can't handle another species. I was like, he's got a point. The man is spitting facts over here, but then he's spitting facts too. You know, so he was like,
you didn't want to come down. Yeah, you didn't want to come down. You didn't want to call up. You was happy. You were happy up in space, and you didn't care. And there was some truth to. There was a little bit of truth to that. You didn't care. You got what you needed from us. You pimped us, Fury.
Which is not so far out the realm.
I'm sorry, the English accent killed me every time Braddock said, "You pimped us, Fury."
It wasn't. I'm like, this is what he does in comics. He manipulates things to work in his favor. He's like, Phil Coulson died. Not really, but I needed something that was going to get you focused on the battle at hand. I needed that, so I dipped these cards in the blood and make it think he died, and Cap will come on board and Tony will feel sorry, and they got to team up to take this threat out. So, I mean, but that's what even in comics, this is what he does. He has a plan that has a plan that has a damn plan, He just didn't plan for the 5 years of being dusted. No one expected that, And people were upset that he was married. I'm like, I find that endearing. Their interactions is good. He's a fucking super spy. What are super spies known for doing besides stopping world threats? Sleeping around.
Still.
You put doesn't get this kind of flack. Captain Kirk don't get this flack.
You gonna put that ring on before you come in here? Would you
Captain Kirk for the streets.
Kurt has always been for the streets.
Kirk has always been for the streets. Let's be honest. Kirk. I remember the day when they sat there and said, "Oh, Kirk, a white man kissed a black woman on national television." They freaked the hell out. Forget the green girl kiss. When Kirk kissed Uhura, that set off a lot of people.
I can't believe this. So I think at the end of the day, there are definitely some moments. I get it. There's a lot of factors at play when it comes to the shows and the films and having the connective tissues going on. You had COVID. Now you got a strike, so it's going to affect.
It's going to get so much fucking worse. Oh my God.
Welcome to the desert.
Like if it's not shot,
a whole bunch of shit. That's all I know.
Yeah, it's if it's not shot and already in the can, it's going to be bad. I mean, I hate to say that.
We're gonna be depending on Will. Will be bumping out scripts.
Go, Will.
Entertain us, sir. Read us tales of regalia.
Yeah, that is the mission statement. Educate, entertain, encourage. So
Monday. On my YouTube, I'm gonna start a new series called "I'm Not Mad, I'm Just Disappointed." Secret Invasion.
It's a hit. It's gold.
I feel like that should be a series. That's a series.
Good title, especially for Secret Invasion. That's a very good title.
Yeah. So I think in the end, for what we've already gotten out of Phase 4 and 5, you're gonna like what you like. If you're a consumer of all thing MCU, guilty as charged, that's fine. It's not. They're not always going to hit the mark. I mean, we look at Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron was the weakest performing Avengers film, but it still made $1 billion.
Yeah.
And then after WandaVision, it made you go back and watch Age of Ultron because certain things were standing out. You had to make sense of it.
See, that's when we should have knew it was going to be an issue, though, because they had Age of Ultron, but it was actually sort of like a hot week of Ultron. It wasn't so much an age.
It was a hot week. It was a hot week. It was.
I think that was the beginning of the end.
Go to bed, Bam. Go to bed.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is drip if not swag persevering?
Look, that is never going to get old.
I actually hate that what's the name? I really do. That's cool.
Vishon lives on.
You hate Vashon?
No, I hate that.
You hate Vashon.
Look, I will stand. I will die on that hill. Vishon is one of us. His body is made of vibranium. It's from Africa.
It's just that. It's just
he wore a turtleneck with a gold chain. It just screams
with the wave, with the do rag though.
It just
the coach wore a do rag.
Somewhere Norman Osborn is like,
motherfucker. I was like, Norman Osborn saying, "You got waves. Let me show you the waves I got cooking."
Oh my god! So I think I watch these shows. I do. I watch. Some of them have a rewatchable factor, like She-Hulk, because it's just funny. Miss Marvel, Moon Knight, definitely. A lot of them have this rewatch. WandaVision was definitely a rewatch.
Damn you, Kira! I'm humming it. She's singing it.
That song was in our heads for like a very hot minute. It like every day I wake up. I'm like, damn, it just.
Although the artist who sung that song was very appreciative, though. He's like, keep playing it. The streams help.
So I think what we're going for now is something of a wave man myself.
Jesus.
Fine, always with the comment section.
It's
Keyboard crack. So I think what we have coming up, we have what Loki is dropping in October. Echo was supposed to drop in November.
Got pushed back.
Yeah, it did get pushed back. Ironheart obviously got pushed back. So did Agatha and Daredevil. I think Daredevil was already supposed to be in 2024, and then What If is still to be discussed. That's still up in the air. So
that's true.
Yeah. Because that episode 10 that we were supposed to get is now added onto season 2.
Yeah.
That was the episode with Gamora, and I'm like,
Out of all that you just named, I think Loki and What If are the two strongest ones.
Yeah,
Loki,
for sure.
Definitely.
Loki is definitely gonna be up there.
Yeah, because it's just good acting. It's just damn good acting that's going on in there, and can't get mad at that. Not to mention Ki-Wai Kwan is part of the Time Agency now. He's part of the TV.
That man, between him and Brendan Fraser, man, they are just
they
having a victory lap right now.
Somewhere in this world, Brendan Fraser, Ki-Wai Kwan, and Keanu Reeves are sitting down and just having steak and wine and
pretty much
and cocaine.
Damn, Kira, nothing.
The steak and cocaine.
Steak and cocaine was right there.
Oh my god!
I'm surprised. I was waiting on Kira.
So speaking of the writer strike, Bama Blair brings up the paying the writers. Yes, pay the writers, pay the artists. Do not depend on AI. Do not depend on these temporary writers. I can't believe they put that call out.
That was scary.
I couldn't believe they did that one. But Fran Drescher said something that just made my heart drop. Oh, we are prepared to strike all the way up until 2024. And I said, don't say that.
But that's what you gotta do. That's what you have to do. That's what you have to do with these companies, because when you look like they had I should have had this article ready where Otaku did research on every major motion picture company over the last 2 years that have made money. They have made almost close to $250 billion. All of it went to production companies. Less than 0.2% went to writers.
Wow.
So you got to think $250 billion in the amount of 2 years, less than 2% of that went to writers. And they're trying to figure out, and they're trying to, when they wonder why they're striking.
Yeah. I mean, we used to hear about these residuals before, but it was a different age of television then too.
Yeah.
You had people, you had shows in rotation, repeats, and everything else. Now you got streaming involved. You know, content is much more you know intense. It's much more content that's being put out here now, and it's like you need to pay these people. You have the money.
Yeah.
And it's funny because the strikers are playing the long game. They're just like, hey, look, you might be used to making
right.
You might be used to
I got a phone. I see
you gotta like you make this X amount of money on a film. But what happens when we don't write a new film or a new show? What happens when we don't promote set? Because we're already paid. However, what happens when the film that you wanted that we were in and you already paid us our check? That's done.
Thanks.
But what if we ain't out there promoting it to make you a shit ton of money? Like you're like, oh, we'll make it. I don't think so. If they holding out like that, I don't think you. It's going to be studios that's saying like, yeah, this may not rock because the profit is going to show in your profit margin. Your quarterlies is going to show. Yeah, you might have made 24 billion in this quarter, but what happens when that 24 billion gets shut down to 12?
Or a valuable commodity suddenly loses value, and then
stocks and your trades, all that stuff starts taking a hit.
Because I mean, we already see that with Max. Max was cutting shows already. Even shows they should be cutting because that was a lot of their subscribers.
Yeah,
a lot of subscribers got Max for that very same reason. So you just turn around and cut the shows. Okay, you're gonna pull it. You're gonna be like pulling Netflix. We're gonna do password sharing. Okay, we got VPN.
Well, they showed that they lost 1.8 million viewers or something like that. Subscribers.
Yeah.
Like the most I use Max for, if I'm not watching a DC animated film, or I'm not watching like The Last of Us or House of the Dragon or something like that, I ain't using it for nothing else.
That's the point. I mean, that's the thing about it. They're saying
Warrior for Will.
No, but I listened to The Matrix while I was driving.
Wait, which one?
All of them?
No, just like CarPlay on The Matrix. I just listen to it while I'm driving.
Oh,
Jesus.
Oh, okay.
So sort of like a podcast.
I'm here with you, Will. I do similar.
Okay.
Long drives.
Look, I've done it. That's how I got through One Piece.
I mean, that's one way to do it. Not mad about that.
Stop promoting that cult to the children.
You ain't seen
One Piece is for the children. It's like Bluey. It's Bluey with pirates.
Yeah, Blue will wear you down because at first I thought it was horrible, and then she just kept watching it, and I was like, okay.
Nah, Bluey is the truth.
Bluey got them kids on lock. I'm just gonna be honest.
Bluey is that type.
Oh my god. So we are at the end of the show, people. Episode 2, season 11. We got so much going on for this season. Stay tuned. Why we want to start this off? I know Lady Mandalore is like, why do I always gotta go first? So she's the co-pilot. Yeah, she's the co-pilot. That's why. This is the second in command.
Let's go. I'm ready, baby.
Okay, all right.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Well, you can find me always and forever on Instagram at Roomful of Blurs. You can also find me on Fanbase for now. On the first Saturday of every month at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That would be this coming Saturday. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. You can also find me on the TikToks as Child of Mandalore. Why? Because I also have a podcast that discusses the history of Mandalore. I also do some voiceover work on there. I desperately need to actually update that. And Yeah, Roomful of Blurs every Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live on
YouTube.
Twitch, and YouTube.
It's Twitch. Shameless plug, because we're gonna plug ourselves.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Love that.
But yeah, also Carl Jones interview on the Crock Pot, Geeks and Grubs interview. Number 2 is on Mandalore's YouTube channel right now.
yes,
Check it out. Actually, it'll be on the Blur's Eye View channel as well. So we out here promoting. We working out here.
Cross promotion.
We ain't baking. We cooking with grease. we out here. We are out here. I told y'all we weren't done. Y'all didn't believe us?
And there's so much more. There's so much more coming. We cooking.
I know how Lex feels when shit comes together. No, boy, I just know that feeling now. The alien will never understand. Our creator of horror, Lainey, is in the building. Tell them where they can find you.
Hi, Lainey.
Hey, this Lainey from Geek by Heart. Me and my husband run our YouTube channel over at Geek by Heart. You can find us there. We talk about horror. We talk about trailers. We talk about a lot of stuff geeks. He's now starting to stream God of War 3 on YouTube on Saturdays and Sundays. So look for him there. You can find us at IG. You can find us at Twitter, also at Geek by Heart. And y'all inspired me to have my own little thing. So I'm just going to say it is never too late to follow your dreams. I am 42 and I'm starting to follow mine and I love it. So follow your dreams.
Look at that. Educate, entertain, encourage. The mission for Blur's Eye View for everyone.
And F the algorithm.
F the yes.
Oh,
Yes, that right
we
there.
make our own.
My God. My God, that algorithm is a bitch.
Ain't it?
Man.
Yo. Tell them where they can find you. We'll be watching the Cinematic Assassin box office.
Gotta get friends and tell them to tell 2 friends and tell them to tell 2 friends, and then you be all right. We'll be watching the Cinematic Assassin. You can find me, don't matter what site you're on, at Mayhem Media. That's MAYEHEM Media. If you're looking for great deals on Funkos, I got you. Just follow your boy. If you're looking for scripts to be rewritten so that they are actually fun and entertaining and make sense, the YouTube is where you're going to find those things starting Monday.
Not Tubi. YouTube.
Not Tubi. Ooh, Tubi's a dark place.
Wow, that's crazy. I need it. Just Jesus. That boy just hit me all at once just now. What else? What else I do? I write for purefandom.com where I do trailer reviews. I write for blurseyeView.org where I talk about action movies because I like when things go boom. And y'all, hey, listen, Barbenheimer had his moment. Check out and catch my boy Tom Cruise movie before he do something extra reckless. He might stop his heart in this final film just to get y'all to come out. Like he's down bad right now. He's not doing well. We just need a moment of silence for that little lovable weirdo. But on that note, mental health is important. So go ahead, take the med.
Nice segue. Okay.
And whatever else you do, lean into learning, lean into laughter, lean into love, and we'll make this world a better place.
And make sure you drink your barley water.
Barley water. Jesus. See,
I feel like every time that Black Spartan comes on, he always does this. Like always gets him.
You want to hear the villainous part of all of it? I make him follow the Cinematic Assassin on purpose.
He does that because Will's gonna always say something that is gonna just have me going, why? Just
yes.
Why?
I feel you always come onto the big screen just like that.
He's always going to be just he went from Tom Cruise right to mental health, and I'm trying to keep a straight face. Like,
why?
Make sure your theta levels are down.
That's why I'm trying not to laugh because I know I'm loud, so I was like, I have to keep my tone to an even minimum. But anyway, yes, I am Black Spartan, otherwise known as BlackFox447 on the socials. I usually do reviews on everything that I read. that I watch, that I play, and gym stuff because I try to get in fighting shape. Trying in so many ways, as I've been told by various religious groups. I do have a couple podcasts of my own. Of course, How the Frack We Got Here every Wednesday and Saturday that can be seen on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. My video game podcast called Get Bit Podcast.
Jesus.
That can be seen every Friday on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Past help us all.
Oh, I should. He got me. Damn. Of course, wherever you get your podcast from, whether you watch or listen to it, you can definitely find both podcasts there. I am one of the many heads. I'm sorry, I'm trying to look at Will right now. I am one of the many heads of the BlurredSeyeView.org website. I actually do the column for wrestling. Why? Because wrestling is real and people are fake. Shout out to Mr. Kennedy for that one. Of course, guys, I am a big proponent of sharing, which means that if you know somebody that's doing something different, whether it's a business, a podcast, or a con, just share it. It costs literally $0 to share anything on social media. If you want to donate, hey, that's up to you. If you got the scratch to do it, but support them the same way you would support Beyonce if she knew you existed. Of course, we are in con season. I just have 3 simple rules. Number 1, respect all cosplayers. They are not your they are not anything more than people that should be respected for the art and work that they put into their cosplays. Always be nice, be respectful. Again, if you are going to a con, please wash your ass, use deodorant. Cleanliness is next to a lot of things. And the third rule I have,
wash your ass.
Definitely wash your ass. But the third rule I have is also the same rule I have for socials. I am a pretty social person. We'll talk to almost anybody. But just the same way as you talk to me is the same way as you be in the cons. Don't be a dick and we'll all be cool.
No, you gotta do this. Don't be a dick. Why you be doing this?
Wash your ass. Don't be a dick.
What you were doing until I read the private chat. You are fucking retarded.
Just so immature. This is what we do. Oh, I wish I had a spaceship right now.
Oh, God.
So what y'all doing tonight? We're gonna do the show. We're just gonna stay on dock. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I'm the man on the wall, Chris Fury. If this is your first time here, check us out on IG. Go to Blurred's Eye View on IG. You can find the link tree in the bio. We'll show you to all the places, including the Facebook page and the YouTube page. Show your support on the YouTube page, Blurred's Eye View on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. We have a lot of content coming down the pipe. You really want to check us out. Shout out to our sponsors, Ultimate Wireless, Always Press Record. You can check us out on Always Press Record on Roku or Amazon Fire. Go to alwayspressrecord.com and completely free. Shout out to Otaku Noir, our other affiliate, Otaku Noir, where you can get first off, they are the number one Blurred the blind mystery box company. They have some of the best, all of the best stuff created by Blurreds for Blurreds, just like us. They have a contest going on, and as they say, as Pete said earlier, they got some more stuff coming down. So that is just happening. Go over to otakunoir.com, buy your stuff, get some subscriptions going. If you buy some stuff and you go to checkout, use Blurred's Eye View as your code and get free shipping. I bet you Amazon can't do that because it costs you extra. Until then, you will see us Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern and Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern. On all the socials, I guess. I think we're going to just be on YouTube for most of the time now. Well, YouTube and Twitch, I should say. Because that's where all our action is at, is YouTube and Twitch. And a lot of people like to respond. And I'll still use the Facebook page as content sharing and articles and all that stuff. Because the book is... it ain't going as fast as X. I can tell you that much, since that's what they're going to be called now. Until then, remember to educate yourself and others, entertain yourself and others, and most of all, encourage yourself and others. Woo! We starting off this season strong. Thank you to the crew for tuning in and jumping on and having fun. Go show support to all their platforms because we are all in one band, one sound. Until next Tuesday when you see us, we're out of here.
Bye.